Morning, Jules here. Welcome to my channel. So it's another take and create, another Tuesday, and this time we've got a double. Last time we had a file folder, this time we've got a double tag, file pockets, belly band and buttons. Again, I've printed on the back of that. This has been done in the Blooming Graceful, so it's the hydrangeas. So with the magic of editing, I'm going to go away and cut these out, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so that's me cut this out. So what we're going to do is we're going to crease, and I'm just matching the white line with one of the score lines on the crease board. And the same with this one, there's a white line. That up there. Then we're going to ink round it, and I'm using ground espresso. It's kind of a warmer, darker brown. You don't have to ink round them. There is like a blue tinge round the edges, so it looks as though it's been inked with blue if you want to keep it like that. But I like the blue and the brown of the ink. So and I'm just bending that over. And then we've got the belly band, pockets. Might need to trim these in a bit. I made them exactly the same size, but sometimes you like them, you know, sometimes I like a little bit of a border round my pockets, so you've got that choice. Okay, and our buttons, one I've cut out with a circle punch, which is a little bit larger. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just do a thin I think we've got a glue clog in here because it is just a thin bead of glue that's coming out. That's it. That's it. The glue clog's just come out. Whoops. Now I'm not squishing that down too much. I'm just going to let it and the same with this one. Just a thin bead of glue. see, we've got that. Now this I made big enough to make a wrap or to turn it into a belly band. I'm not sure yet whether I want I think we might have that one on there and that one on there, so we're going to double the pockets up on here, I think. Or do we want that one? No, definitely that one. So I'm just doing the edges of that on this one. And just make sure that you haven't got the edge of that pocket, and then that way you've got your long pocket and your short pocket. Oh, lift that up a bit, just unskew with feet. That's better. And do I want this one on here? What I'm going to do, I'm just going to check that the glue's just on the edge there. And just alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave a little bit off this. Took it off this edge and I need to stick this back down, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this inside the tag, because it's a double tag, and no, I can't do that one. I'll need to put this in there like that. So if you're going to put kind of that in, then I would just glue the top half. And there, like that. I'm going to put this on here. just okay, so these little tags come with the kit, the Blooming Graceful kit, and you get 12, and you can add on to these or you can leave them as they are. They're quite pretty. I've got some little Polaroid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find some photographs that will go in our little Polaroid. Yep, so we'll use the little boy fairy. I'm just putting a very, very thin line of glue. So we can have our chip there. I've got a larger one. I think that's too small. Alright, we'll see what we've got. It's too small. These are photographs that I've had for a wee while. Some of them are part of kits, some of them aren't. I think we'll have that one. So again, just trim that off the bottom. think what we'll do is we'll have that photograph in there like that, and that photograph in there like that. We'll put these away, and what we want is, I've got one of these I could put in there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to use, I think, probably one of these journal cards. Or I might have this. Yeah, so we'll have this journal card. And again, this is a journal card that comes with the kit. You can use anything. I mean, you can use, that's just a photograph. That fits in there. And I think we'll have a tab on that. Right, I'm going to do this one. Put it quite so it fits in behind there, and then this is going to be our little wrap. And I've done these quite often because I like these, and if you want to, you can measure it. So your tag is 2 3/4. So what you would do is so we've got that at 2, and then I'm doing it an 1/8. So we fold it in at the 2 1/8, and then we do 2 3/4, and then 2 3/4 and 1/8, and that should fit if it doesn't have measured it wrong. And there we are. stick that down. So I usually put a little bit of glue on the edge and then up and then some on that edge, and it catches. And then we'll go over that. And then we've got our wrap to keep everything together. Right, keep that out first. That in. Pop that in like that. You can even put another journal card in there if you want. And then we've got our buttons. Which you can put on there. And if you wanted, you could put a little grommet in there as well. Makes it look nice. Let me trim this. I don't have a circle punch small enough to cut these out perfectly, so we'll put these on here. And then what we'll do is we'll put some little tiny grommets in. And it's the 1/16 I'm using. Now what I'm doing is because I've decided to do it as an afterthought, I haven't got that perfect. They look like two beady eyes looking sideways. Them in there. And then set that onto the small, and that should fit in there, yep. And sometimes what I like to do is when I've got grommets, I like to put a little bit of rope through it, so I've got some garden twine here, so we'll try the garden twine first. In fact, no, what we'll do is I've got some baker's twine. Oh, I've got the dark blue and the light blue, so I'm just gluing the ends together just so that I can get them threaded. And there we are. So we'll just tie that in a knot. In fact, no, we won't. We'll tie that in a bow and we'll just glue it. So just pull that out like that. Then you could do ribbon if you wanted. So tie a knot. And make your loop. Put it round. Oh, come on, get them both out. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue on that knot and underneath. And as you can see, just another way of prettying your wrap up, or you could put jewels on it, or a picture, or a fussy cut. It's entirely up to you. There is some fussy cuts with the Blooming Graceful kit, so yeah, you could use one of them. And there we are. And I think I might do a little ribbon slider here. Just throwing my ribbon all over. So this is just like a baby blue organza ribbon, and I'm just and that's that. Shove those little bits there. So we've got little broken bits of ribbon. Right. Want that one on? Not sure where that came from. I think it's one of Shabby Dabby Doodah's stress tickets, but it's the right colour, it's blue, so it's going on. And I'm just putting it on the back of the wrap. So that's that. And that was quite a short video for lots of bits of pieces and stuff like that. So there we are, we have a wrap, or you can use it as a belly band. We've got our double tag, and that goes in there. We've got our got our journal card in here. I'll put that back in. Put that back in there. We've got tags from the kit. We've got little bits of ephemera, and this is just using these things. Have been on my desk for absolutely months, and what I did, I decided that all these little bits and pieces are just going to get used in my projects, because that's what they're meant to be. They're meant to be used. So, and then we'll just push that up there like that. And there we are. Got a nice pretty double tag, ready to fit in your journal like that. We can put them up there, and we can put that one down there. In fact, I would put this one at the back, I think. Yep. I'm not sure. Quite like these ones in the front. Maybe it's with this one on a sloping pocket, and then that way you can see the threads. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.